to express what we believe. Right? So we'll discuss the Eucharist in two parts. First part, right now, the theology of the sacrament with a focus on the Last Supper, the Paschal mystery, the significance of a meal, and the notions of real presence and sacrifice. In the second part, in another lesson, we'll focus on the liturgy, that is, how we celebrate the Eucharist. For right now, the Last Supper. Jesus took the common Jewish meal and imbued it with new meaning. He took bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to his disciples. And then he took a cup of wine, and he added these words, "This is my body, this is my blood. Do this in memory of me." He gave new meaning to the Jewish family meal. The Jewish meal was always a sacred occasion. The head of the household prayed a blessing with bread. On special occasions, he would add a cup of wine. For the Jewish celebrations, this included the notion of anamnesis. Anamnesis. It's a form of memory, but not merely recalling an old event, but through the memorial celebration, we recognize our own part in the story. This is our story. So again, we're not just remembering something that happened a long time ago. Rather, it is a story of which we are a part. For instance, with the Jewish Seder supper, the ritual has the youngest person there ask the father, "Why is this night different?" And then the father rehearses the great story of salvation, how God called Israel and formed a covenant with them, how they were liberated from bondage in Egypt, how God established them as a great nation at Sinai with the law, and guided them along the way with the prophets. This is their story, and the story continues today. I can remember just a small example in my own life where we celebrated my friend's parents' 50th wedding anniversary. And we met in the parents' home there, and I presided and preached at a mass for them. And at one moment, right after the preaching, the couple stood up unrehearsed, and they just held each other's hands, looked each other in the eye, and then I asked them to repeat their wedding vows. Now, of course, I couldn't have staged this better. They were standing right before the picture window, the light streaming in. It looked like a Norman Rockwell painting. But all the family gathered there, their 7 children and all their grandchildren, were looking on upon this with some awe, as if to think we were there. This is what it was like. We were not just telling a story about it. We were part of the story. This is where we come from. So in just a small way, this is what anamnesis is about. It is our story, and the story continues today. The Eucharist shows us that Christ is really present with us as we gather in his name. We're not just talking about him, say, 2,000 years ago. Right? Remember the story of the 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus and how they recognized him in the breaking of the bread. He was present to them. When we break bread together in the Eucharist, Christ is present to us. About a meal, we may take it for granted. What's going on with a meal? What is the purpose of a meal? But simply to gather people together. It's not just about taking nourishment, is it? Right? For that, we could stop in alone at Starbucks for breakfast or McDonald's for lunch. A quick meal to get you started and keep you going. It's just bodily nourishment. Yes, we need that. But for a family or friends or a religious community, we need more than bodily nourishment. As one little boy said to me about his family supper, he said, "At supper, we become a family." The meal brings us together. We tell our stories and talk about our plans and dreams, and the bonds of unity are strengthened. Something happens to us in the meal. We are transformed. We are brought into a community. For the early Christians, the Eucharistic meal became the central component of their faith. Before they were known as Christians, they were known as the people who break bread together. They were literally companions. Companion, from the Latin cum pane, with bread. Right? True companions are those